And now for our special presentation. Aw man, after a long day of being on the job as a construction worker, I'm ready to turn on the TV to watch some good old Fox News so I can waste 24/7 of my lifetime.
President Trump hosted a meeting with video game makers and their critics at the White House today. He was busy. They're looking for ways to reduce youth violence.
Violence in video games? I wonder what this is about. I know my son likes to play these kinds of games, so I probably should listen in on the action.
Let's start with you, David, because some of these games are really wild. I mean, they're pretty graphic, pretty gory. You know them, Call of Duty. I don't do any of these, but
what Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, they're simulated violence.
It's a criminal simulator, a murder simulator.
Yeah,
What? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Grand Theft Auto okay for my kid? I mean, I just bought him that game last year for Christmas, and now you're telling me that it's a so-called murder simulator? I don't believe you, Fox News. Tell me more.
Shapiro, I know you're skeptical about a link from video games. Yes. Millions and millions of people play these video games. I mean, girls aren't as into these video games, I'm sorry, as boys are, but I think if my sons had access to them, I'm sure they'd play them all the time, because something about the boy's brain and these games. But why are you not worried about it?
Well, I mean, I'm not supremely worried about it just because the consumption of these violent video games has been going up continuously since the early 90s, and yet youth violence has been going down since the early 90s. The correlation actually doesn't fit. As far as individual instances, I mean, you can find patterns in very sporadic instances among virtually all data sets, but there's some pretty mixed data about this. It's true that the American Psychological Association recommends that parents not allow their kids to play these games. I wouldn't let my kids play these games because I think they're immoral, frankly, but that should really be up to parents. I'm not sure the government should be in the business of stepping in. In 2011, Justice Scalia, in a majority decision 5-4, found that it was actually unconstitutional for the state of California to regulate the capacity of parents to be able to get these video games for their kids, or even for kids to get them themselves without parental permission. He saw that as a content violation under the First Amendment.
No, this can't be true. What should I do as a parent? Oh, I know. I'll take all his games and consoles and that $10,000 powerful gaming PC away from him. Also, I will take away his Xbox, his PlayStation, his Nintendo gadgets, and the Google Stadia, which he is obviously able to get for free. I gotta stop my son before it's too late.
Oops, sorry, Father. I guess video games do make us violent after all. I think it's time to go hide his body now before the cops come after me.
Okay, can we please start the real video already?
It's a brand new day, no time to waste. Let the birds be your body, sunshine your face. I smile and wave, but my eyes are laid to the party that you started with your childish grace. It's a brand new day, no time to waste. Let the birds
Hey, what's up guys, it's Soul Phantom. Welcome back to a brand new video, and I hope every one of you is doing a fantastic week, because I know I am. So today's topic is going to be a little bit different compared to my last commentary video I made. And this video here I'm making is just a bit personal to me, and well, I wanted to be able to get this off my chest, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But let me ask you this. When you think of the phrase video games, what does that remind you of exactly? Like, for instance, do you think of the Atari 2600, or do you think of Rob the Robot? Oh, you know, like one of Nintendo's most popular gadgets of the early 80s. I'm sure some of you who grew up with either Atari or Nintendo probably had good fun time with them. And why did you play these so-called consoles? Because you knew they were fun, right? And I'm sure most of you are going to say that they're fun, because I mean, we all grew up with video games at some point in our lives. I mean, hey, look at me. I've been playing video games since I was 6 years old, and I've been playing video games for the past 15 years, and never in my life have they ever caused me any problems whatsoever. And that's exactly where I'm trying to get my point straight. But here's the problem. You have all kinds of arrogant people out there who think things like, oh, well, these video games make us violent, or, oh, well, these video games make us addicted to them, or, oh, video games make us have hair loss, or even going as far as saying, oh, well, video games make make us become obese and fat. And that's exactly what's going on. We go from, oh, video games are violent and that it's destroying young minds. And then looking at today, all what the news media and other articles do is basically discriminate us gamers for anything we do. And I'll be honest though, it's like we're living in the 1960s all over again. Except, well, I mean, African Americans are still being discriminated to this day. But I feel like that us gamers get it way worse mainly because the news media knows that it will make them enough money. Money. Especially for the articles about us in which, well, there are so many of these anti-gaming articles about us gamers, it's not even funny anymore. But the most particular one that I'll be talking about in today's video is from a website called The Edge. And well, for those of you who don't know what The Edge is, it's like a rehab program in the country of Thailand, in which according to them, it's mostly meant for young men. And while they never really mention anything about young women, which I think is a bit odd considering the fact that they have a huge list of issues that young men go through, and I quote, "The Edge is tailor-made for teens and young men between the ages of 18 and 26 who are struggling with their mental health, behavioral patterns, relationships, and substance abuse. We've got a range of issues including drug and alcohol abuse, anxiety, depression, trauma, ADD, ADHD, oppositional defiance disorder, trouble with authority, gambling, misuse of internet and related technologies, lack of direction and failure to launch, a lack of success at other rehabilitation centers. Anyone slightly over the age of 26 may also be considered if the program is deemed suitable." And well, you get the idea of what The Edge is. Now, I almost forgot to mention that they also have their own website where they cover these topics, and well, they made one that had to do with gaming addiction, and well, I want to be able to respond to this article to try and clear some things up between us gamers and the video game industry. And the article is so-called titled, "The Growing Gaming Culture in the US is Destroying the Next Generation." Oh boy. And we're gonna give it a shot at rating this. So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and get your controllers ready because we're about to dive into the most notorious article. And let's get rating in 3, 2, 1. Roll it, you frick! When people think about addictions, they normally think about drugs and possibly alcohol, but increasingly, there is a growing concern over gaming addiction in the United States. Video gaming started in the 80s with the first Nintendo gadgets and has grown to become a multi-billion-dollar industry spanning the globe. Boosted by the internet and more sophisticated graphics, gaming has exploded into a worldwide phenomenon. Now, let's be real here, I think that's how most people interpret addictions is very different depending on the topic. Like, what I'm really trying to say is that it doesn't have to be just about drugs and alcohol or even gaming, but you can have an addiction to eating or drinking things. Like, for instance, some people might be addicted to eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos, mainly because those kinds of people like spicy foods. But sometimes you really gotta cut back on those Flamin' Hot Cheetos because, well, from what I've heard, they take up way more calories than the regular Cheetos. But hey, that's just me, and I may be wrong about this. But take the example of soda, for instance. Soda, or also known as pop, can also take up calories in your body, you know, depending on how much bottles or cans of it you drink. I remember throughout my teenage years, I would basically drink about 3 to 4 cans a day. But nowadays, as a full-grown adult at the age of 20 today, now that I think about my own self, I only drink about 1 to 2 cans a day, and that is it. So really, what I'm trying to say is that you can have an addiction to almost just about anything besides drugs, alcohol, and gaming addiction. Just saying. Also, I'm fully aware about gaming addiction, and it has been talked about back in the early 2010s when Minecraft was starting to become popular. And well, you're probably asking yourself saying, well, Phantom, are you really that addicted to playing video games? Now, let me put it to you this way, is that it really just depends on the type of games. But let me say this first, is that I don't really spend most of my time sitting in front of a screen all day. I'll usually will spend most of the times going outside and getting exercise and getting some physical activity and whatnot. So no. But what I can say is that the most addicting genre of video games I've played so far are open world games. Like, you know, those kinds of games where you roam around and do whatever the heck you want. Like, for instance, I would spend most of my time as a 12-year-old playing Skyrim because, I mean, well, there were so many quests to do and so much stuff to do in the game, especially in the main quest line itself. But I think you get my point if you're a huge Skyrim fan like I was. Now, while it is true that the video game industry has been making a lot more money than the movie industry has, but yet the music industry has made way more money than the video game industry and the movie industry has, mainly because almost all of us in the world, including myself, listen to music. And besides, music has been around for as long as I think any of us can even remember. Okay, what am I saying? Can we just move on with this darn article already? But this has come at a price. Gaming addiction has become a modern scourge across the world, but particularly in the United States. It is estimated that at least 72% of homes in the United States have users playing video games, with at least 2 to 3% of a sample study of 19,000 users saying they can't stop gaming without some level of distress. It is estimated that 150 million Americans regularly play video games, with the average age of a video gamer being 35 years old. Okay, this is where the article gets really dramatic, and they're also using the word scourge like it's the 1800s slavery or something. Again, as I said in my argument, I don't really spend much time sitting in front of a screen all day. And yes, while it is true that most majority of gamers are teenagers, in which from what I've heard, it's about 90%, but for adults including myself, well, it's about 60% of us who are gamers as well. And as for the girls, according to some research that I did, they say that in 2019, at about 46% were females, while 54% were males. So now you see where I'm coming from? Again, as I already said, this article is getting way too dramatic, and it gets even deeper than that, so here it goes. How video games cause addiction. The science of video game addiction is not well understood, but it's thought to work in the same way as that of gambling. It has been noted that for people with a gaming disorder, the process becomes less about entertainment and more as a coping mechanism. Usually, gaming becomes a problem when it affects the normal functioning of the individual. If a gamer stuns social interaction, neglects key responsibilities, and spends irresponsibly on video gaming, then that is a sign that the habit has gone out of control and intervention is needed. One particular group of people that are badly affected by the scourge of video gaming is children and young people. Video games are a form of escape, and people who spend hours and hours playing video games are unlikely to develop strong social skills to help them in their personal and professional lives. This in particular affects young people who ideally should be developing those skills at that stage. The result is a growing number of teenagers and young people who ends up with stunted social skills. Because a considerable number of video games are based on violent activities, there is also a growing concern about the effect of such games on the minds of children. Being exposed to violent video games for a long time can lead to the desensitization of an individual to death and violence. Okay, again, why do you people have to use the word scourge like it's the 1800s slavery? I mean, it's not like anyone's being whipped or anything. Also, at least you people got one thing right. While it is true that video games are a form of escape from our horrible and horrific reality we live in, but even if you're like me or some others who go out there and get some form of activity outside, but still play video games to this day, I would still have the lack of getting the social skills I need, right? Also, video games are not the only form of media that have violence. Even silent films used to have some forms of violence, especially comic books. But let's be hypothetically real here, even a ton of movies and TV shows have violence. Like for instance, The Walking Dead, which is a very popular zombie show that is really popular on AMC if you've ever watched it, has forms of violence because zombies would sometimes eat the limbs of another human being, like their leg or something. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead who is watching this video, yeah, you know what I mean. You get what I mean, right? Now, violence has been around for thousands of years, at least even before any of us were even born, by having your head chopped off, or even going as far as having a spear go down your torso, which is something probably most of the majority of our ancestors did throughout those times. But nowadays, we have things such as prisons and jail cells, and sometimes death penalties, where they're basically stuck in a room getting electrified, in which, well, I'm not going to go too much in detail with that, since, I mean, it's a bit too disturbing to tell any of my viewers or subscribers, so just go look it up for yourself. Now, this is as far as I can go with this article, and well, if you guys want to go read the rest of it for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below if y'all want to go check it out. The rest mainly just talks about throughout our history with public debates about video games in our country, side effects on video games, behavioral symptoms, and physical signs of video game addiction, and help for those who are video game addicts. But if any of you want to make your own video talking about it, I highly advise to read all of it first before you go and start proving your points about the article in your video, because I'm I'm going to be having an interview with a good Xbox friend of mine, you know, the one who was in my last video in which I made an update video talking about the apology, and now he is here with me right now to discuss about the current state of how the media is betraying us gamers of today. So hello GTA King, and how are you doing today?
Good, you?
I'm doing just really great, as usual. But anyhow, let's get down to business. So the first question I'm going to be asking you is, how old are you currently right now?
I'm currently 18. I'm going to be turning 19 in June.
Oh, okay, alright. And the next question I'm also going to be asking you is, how long have you been playing video games exactly? And has it ever affected your life in any way, shape, or form?
I've been playing video games since I was little. And kind of not really. I mean, it's kind of been like sort of affecting me from my studies and stuff. So I haven't been studying as much from school and stuff, focusing on my school. So that's why I've been trying to avoid it. But yeah, I've been distracted by other things, and that's why I've not been focused on anything.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else you want to add to it, or do you want to move on to the next question?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Alright, so the third question I'm going to be asking you is, what is your favorite video game that you're actually addicted to the most?
I would say Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, I gotcha. Because, you know, it's an open world game, so I can understand.
Yeah.
Alright. The fourth question I'm going to be asking you is, so, from what I have summarized throughout my video already, how do you feel about the news media and other journalists talking about, or, you know, talking bad about video games in general? Like, how do you feel about it? Like, does it, irritate you in any sort of way, or do you just, not even care at all?
It kind of irritates me a lot because, we shouldn't even blame violent video games because violent video games are not the problem. Only the problem is people always easily getting their hands on the guns, or it's always just politics and stuff, or the media.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point, dude. Is there anything else you want to add to it, or are you good to go?
Good to go.
Alright, the fifth question I'm going to be asking you is, let's just say you were out in public and you saw a protest group that had to do with anti-gaming, okay? And if you were in that position where you were up against these people, what would you say to these kinds of people that talk bad about video games? You know, just out in public, if it was a protest going on or something, what would you say to those people?
I would say, listen, people, the games aren't the problem. Only problem is the media keeps lying about it, and even though we've seen Japan, they made these kind of games, and they know, and they're smart people, and they know what they're doing. They haven't created this. They believe that these kind of games don't have any problems, and we see the other worlds, they play this game, and it doesn't affect anyone. This kind of games. In my country, I have some families that live in my nationality. The people that live in Pakistan, my families that are from Pakistan. I have some cousin and nephew that plays that games and stuff, and they never got affected by it. Okay, yeah, I mean, I actually believe it has to really just depend on the person. If you look at that one individual in person that's really suspicious out of the, 100 or thousands of people or whatever, you would really know for a fact. For real, straight up. Exactly. Yeah. Alright, so, is there anything else you want to add to this question, or are you good to go now? I'm good to go. Alright, so the sixth question I'm going to be asking you is, do you trust the news media? And if not, tell me why you don't support them at all. I'm just curious, because there's some people that don't trust them, really, that are, people that are, a little bit, way older than us, though. I kind of, sometimes, if they would say lie stuff, then yes, I would not believe them and stuff. How, when media, every time media is in media is in politics, they would just lie about everything and fake everything just to give people attention and just to ruin everybody's lives and stuff. Alright. Just how they're just the media is always stereotyping Muslims around the country, is kind of a problem with that too. Yeah, I can actually really see your point. It's just how I talked about in the video earlier, how African Americans, they're still getting discriminated even to this day, and even if they try and stop that, it's not gonna really stop anytime soon.
And I can understand why. And there's people out there that are like, you know, like neo-Nazis or whatever that will do all sorts of these things. You know, there's still people out there that are still part of the KKK. At least I believe so, I think. But I may be wrong about that, though.
Yeah, today, when I was sleeping, I had a nightmare about, we got chased by a cop and stuff, and then my dad got tasered and stuff.
Oh, alright. Is there a way you can explain it to my subscribers and viewers? I don't know if they really know what you're talking about, though. So your dad got tased, right? And then what happened?
I don't know. I was scared. I was, crying and stuff, and, because I think I was dreaming about, when I was little or something, or, when he picked me up from school, why'd you do that and stuff, and, it was horrible and stuff, and they tried to, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, my dad went unconscious for a little bit and stuff.
Yeah, I understand, dude. Stuff like that, we all have all these bad nightmares that we usually think about. I mean, I remember there was this one time where I was, dreaming how I was, flying and stuff. It was really weird. I was, flying in the sky, and it felt like I was about to get, I was about to almost get sick, basically. At least, kind of. I don't know if I would really consider it like that, of course. But it felt like I wasn't feeling nothing. I just felt like I was in the air somewhere, just for no reason. But that's for another time, though. Is there anything else you want to add to this question, or are you good to go?
Good to go.
Alright, so the 7th question, which I'm gonna have to guess is maybe the last question, because I don't really have any other questions for you, though. But the last question I'm gonna be asking you, though, is do you believe that the future of gaming will get better?
Hopefully soon. I hope for the best, because I just want the world to know that, America to know that this is not right, because just to blame things that are not true, because fact reasons. When we were talking about violent video games, excuse me, when we're talking about violent video games, there comes a time when we have school shootings and stuff, they would always say kids the parents would always say oh, stop playing these kind of games and stuff. It'll mess up your mind. Just like how my parents are saying, they're doing the same thing to me too. They're blaming me because they're trying to tell me to stop playing violent video games too.
Yeah, see, I never really had that issue. I mean, my dad used to play the video game Doom, actually. The world should
understand.
And that's violent, so...
What's that?
Well, my dad used to play...
Say again?
Okay, so my dad used to play the 90s game, you know Doom, right?
Yeah, I heard of Doom.
Yeah, my dad used to play it, and that's a violent game. So, I mean, I honestly, that's probably why my parents don't have an issue with me playing games that have to do with violence. I mean, I've played a lot of violent games as a kid growing up, kind of a little bit. I think as I started growing up, I started playing, Modern Warfare 3, I've played Skyrim. I mean, those are really violent games. I mean, those have some forms of violence, too, but... it doesn't really affect me rarely that much. I remember Spy Gabriel, he told me that, Grand Theft Auto actually changed his personality, but it didn't really make him aggressive or violent, though.
Exactly. Talking about Call of Duty and Grand Theft, these are the kind of games that the media are always blaming on and stuff. And even Battlefield, some other shooting games and stuff.
Yeah, Dude,
I
I totally get it. They used to do it with Mortal Kombat and Night Trap back in the 90s. When the ESRB rating was being implemented and stuff, and they had a core and all this other stuff. I mean, there was just so much going on at that time.
When you take a look at Grand Theft Auto and stuff, the Grand Theft Auto game is really open and stuff, and then they would just have and stuff. They would have a lot of weapons, and a lot of missions to do and stuff. And then
yeah.
But it's not like you're gonna go do exactly the same thing as that. Come on.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
I think politics and media should really grow up. Because this is the stupid fake stuff that they're trying to say, and I just hope for the best that they would change and stuff. I just wish that the world would understand. I know Japan and some other countries understand, but here in America, I just hope that we really should grow up and we really should change our gun laws and stuff. Because the problem is, we shouldn't blame violent video games. We should blame the people who are getting their hands on the guns easily.
I think I totally get it, because Walmart was trying to basically get rid of violent video games, even though the guns were the main problem, actually. I mean, I even know this for a fact.
now when we take a look at Australia's gun laws, like in the
Uh-huh.
90s, like because like in the 90s they had a mass shooting that happened in Port Arthur, and they said that they were going to change their gun laws, and they did. They had some new policies at the time. They you would need requirements, okay, like why you need to own a gun and stuff, because you need a license and a permit, and there'll be a generous reason why you have to own a gun, whether if it's like agricultural use or for sports and things like that. But it doesn't require self-defense and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You have to wait a 30-day to get a gun and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, were you about to say something?
Yeah, so I think we should have when we take a look. I know in California, they banned assault weapons in their country. They don't, because you're not allowed to carry a rifle or things like that. You're only allowed to carry a pistol if you have a permit for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think what we should do. All right. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, so what I was saying, that what we should do, we should probably fix our gun laws and stuff. We should fix it properly. We should have we should start requiring licenses and permits for these kind of weapons. If you want to own a gun and stuff, you need to wait 30 days to own a gun and stuff, and a lot of other things. And because and I know what happened, and taking back what happened last year in New Zealand, they decided to make sure to change their gun laws as well too. And we should do this same thing in our country. But even though even when we have bad guys that are carrying guns, we need to take the guns away from them. Still.
Yeah.
Because even though it's just not right. Because there'll be coming times where there'll be a lot of mass shootings going on, and then we're just not going to stop it. And even with schools and stuff, we need to really talk about schools. When we talk about schools and stuff, when we have these lockdowns, when we prepare for ourselves, even if you barricade yourself, there's still gonna be armed. You'll never know what they could have and stuff.
Yeah.
So we should really, really think about what we're doing. And the only thing that we should be blaming is the NRA, because the NRAs are the most problems in this country.
Yeah.
Because they are bringing the problems in this country, and they're also blaming violent video games as well too.
Yeah, I think I totally get it, dude. I mean, this has become a pretty huge problem for so many years. I mean, I think it's time that we just step our foot down and actually stop this nonsense.
Our Second Amendment is really messed up and stuff. We need to fix that, because our Second Amendment, we shouldn't bear the right to bear arms and stuff. Because what am I saying? Excuse me. Right to bear arms. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to fix that. We should stop that, because literally we should just have just a good gun policy, so we don't have any mass shootings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it could be simple. If you just do something like this, then it'll be simple. There'll be no more mass shootings. But if you guys keep the guns loose, then it's gonna happen a lot, and then people are gonna, because we know on the world are complaining we want gun control. We want gun control. A lot of I think a lot of people in this country want gun control, and they're crying and stuff. They're scared of their loved ones, because I'm worried about it too. We're scared about our loved ones.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with everything you're saying actually so far. I think it's really good. I think with what we're telling to people on YouTube, I know it's going to sound like it's a lie at first, but I think it's really good advice, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just hope for the best that this could happen in the future. Hopefully, everything will go good in the future. We can stop all this mess and just be done with it.
Yeah, because nobody shouldn't have to fall into despair.
Really,
you know what I mean, right?
Wait, say again?
So, I really don't want our whole entire country to fall into despair because of what we're having to deal with. And yeah, I have to agree with what you say again, but I don't want any of us to have to fall into despair. There is hope out there for all of us, not just for myself.
But people need to understand that we really, really need to grow up. We really need to stop paying attention to these kind of situations and stuff, because what you guys are falling into, you're falling to the lie of a media and stuff. And the media, what they do fake things. And that's why you should stay away from these kind of things and be understandable and just be a real, and step up to be a real human being, and just stop blaming everything for what's going on and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get everything what you're saying, dude. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before I end this interview? And also, do you want to say anything to my subscribers and viewers? Like, you want to say, like, hi to them or something?
Yeah, sure. What's up, guys? Yeah, it's me, GDA King, with Soul again. So, guys, one last question. Just please understand this, that hopefully that we need to grow up and stuff. We really need to step up for this kind of situation, because what I'm saying is I'm telling the truth, and we really, really need to understand, okay? Because what's going on in the world, we really, really need to change our gun laws, because it's been going on for a while, and we should stop blaming we should stop blaming violent video games and be a real human being and really grow up and stop paying attention to the media.
Yeah.
What if anything, when we go to a lot of situations and stuff, we're going through a lot of situations, but we really, really need to stop this. Okay, feel about the people who are going through with this mess right now, and we're not getting it. But seriously, please understand this, guys. Please tell this to your parents and tell this to everyone that you know, that you should understand. If you guys want to show this video to your families, if you guys want to show this videos to your families, please do, because they should understand too as well, okay? So tell them that we should not blame violent video games. We should blame on the people who are getting their hands on the guns real easily. And we should stop this kind of madness.
Yeah, especially blame video games for almost everything. Like, I even heard that video games were also being blamed for climate change, actually, which I don't even think it's true, considering the fact that if we're also blaming video games for it, then we're also blaming TV, which also run on power too.
Yeah, when we watch action movies and stuff, we don't blame action movies. We just always are blaming on violent violent video games. But I don't know if we're blaming on violent movies and stuff, but I don't think that happens much, but it mostly happens to video games, though.
Yeah, I know Trump did blame violent movies too, but it wasn't really that much, considering the fact that I've even went to watch violent movies myself with, my dad before, so. And even with my older sister, when I used to watch the movie Jigsaw, I mean, that movie was so freaking good, though, but it was still violent either way, but.
Yeah, I love watching, for me, I love watching action movies. And maybe because, for me, I might want to go into Hollywood industry because I want to be an actor and stuff. Because my role is to do action movies and comedies and romance and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I would like to do something like these because even though I'm in college, but even though I know a lot of you guys out there are still staying safe from the coronavirus and stuff.
Dude, I think they already know this.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with the topic of this video, but okay.
That's my bad.
That's alright, dude, you're good. I mean, we've already gotten into, at the time when I'm recording this, audio, it's about almost, 9 minutes, so, is there anything else you want to say about the topic of this video, or do you want to just end the interview like this?
Okay. So, everybody, just hope you understand, hope you show this to your family, and show this to them what they could understand, and hopefully we can hope for the best for our life, and hopefully these things will come in our future, things will change in our future. So yeah, and also stay safe, stay home, keep doing what you're doing and stuff, and hopefully this virus will end pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, see you later, GTA King. It was nice talking to you with my viewers and subscribers, so.
Yep.
But anyhow, that wraps up this whole video, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, because if you did, you can make sure to subscribe. subscribe, because I'll be making more content within the meantime. And also, I do want to say two things before I end off this video, is that I want to thank everyone for supporting my channel for the past 2 years now. And well, at the time of me recording this video, I have about exactly 98 subscribers. So thank you so much to everyone out there who are watching this video, and I do appreciate all of your support of this channel. And it means a lot to me, especially for those who are my subscribers, and for those who don't have a YouTube account, I really still appreciate your support of this channel, and I wish to make more content in the future. Lastly, I'm also planning to make a video game rap video, so stay tuned for that as well over to my Discord server and Twitter. And that's pretty much all I'm talking about for today. Oh, and also make sure to turn on that bell notification to stay up to date on my channel to be notified about my new videos coming out. This is Soul Phantom rolling out. Adios.
Coming up, I never really had shit. No bed frame, just the flow and the mattress. No left lane, stuck in slow moving traffic. Then I made racks on practice. Now everything is perfect. I don't